No, it's a privilege to be here. I have to say that when I was made U.S. Special Envoy, special envoys were truly special. There were only about 2 of them. I think I was the 2nd special envoy ever appointed under Bush 43. Today, there are special envoys everywhere. Of course, they're very fancy. The late Dick Holbrooke, who was a friend and a great public servant, but George Mitchell, one could go on naming all the special envoys we have now. My last night in Brussels, when I was packing up to leave, I was invited to a dinner by the head of the European Defense Force, the commanding general. Something of a sort of misnomer, because there really is no European Defense Force. But the general had a staff and a chef and a house, and I was happy to consider his invitation. Unfortunately, it was my last night. I was packing, and I ended up not going. But he sent me an invitation list very kindly, and I was listed as C. Boyden Gray, U.S. Special Convoy. So I don't know what I feel. Sorry to miss Larry's words, so I don't know whether we will be completely complimentary or not. I hope so, but we should strive for energy independence. And I think there's a way to get there, and it would give us much cleaner air. And I'm not talking just about the climate change issue. I'm talking about the air we breathe and in our cities. We would have less trade deficit. 60% of our current account deficit is oil. It's not that we can't manufacture and export. We do fine, but we run these huge deficits because we are importing so much oil. We would be, therefore, shipping less money abroad to finance people who don't really like us very much, and we would be creating more U.S. jobs. And we wouldn't be subject, obviously, to the price swings that we're now experiencing, not only with respect to North Africa, but look at what's going on in Japan. Nuclear power doesn't translate now into energy independence for us with oil. There's really no connection in the United States. If we had a lot of electric cars, it might, but we don't. So nuclear energy is not necessarily interchangeable or a substitute for oil, not here. But there are relationships which do matter internationally. The point I want to make, to leave you with, is that we are actually, in the United States, drowning in substitutes for oil, just drowning. And we don't know what to do with it all, and we're beginning now to export some of our substitutes. And we earn our way out of our trade deficit by exporting these products, but we shouldn't export them. We should use them here. And what do I mean by we're drowning in substitutes? We have so much natural gas now we don't know what to do with it. There are obviously hurdles, there are challenges in the extraction, and that has to be attended to, but there are solutions. It just simply adds to the cost, but we can handle that if we can create the demand. Gas prices are now as low as they've been for a long, long time, and it's going to discourage drilling of this great potential resource we have if we can't put it to use. And we can put it to use in our power plants, but equally importantly, maybe even more importantly, we can put it to use in our cars, trucks, and buses. And we're not doing that. We have biofuels. Ethanol has taken a hugely bad rap in the press for causing everything from the Egyptian revolution to God knows what all, the loss of rainforest in Brazil and Indonesia. The assault on ethanol is one of the wonders of the Western world, bearing absolutely no, in my opinion, no relation to reality. but there it is. It's been under attack by people who would prefer that it continue to have a very low price and not compete. We have coal to liquids. Coal has taken, not altogether completely deserved in my opinion, a lion's share of the cleanup of our air quality. But coal is dirty, so it was going to face all kinds of challenges. On the other side of the ledger, though, if you extract a liquid, which is what the South Africans do, the liquid that is extracted is incredibly clean compared to gasoline and diesel. Coal gets no credit for that. It's a homegrown resource. We can provide a very, very clean transportation fuel that's homegrown, that creates no pollution. CO2 is a problem, but when you can choose the location of the plants to do the extraction, you can actually handle the capture of the carbon. And then there are, of course, electric cars. Each of these possibilities, there are four of them, and there are probably more out there, but there are at least these four. They're having trouble cracking what is, in effect, a gasoline-diesel monopoly of supply. And the control over it, I believe, is in the hands of the Environmental Protection Agency. And I believe that if you generated enough pressure on your elected representatives and in the media, you could force EPA to begin to open this monopoly up and allow electric cars, biofuel cars, natural gas cars, coal to liquids cars compete. And I think they'll do very well. There are gas stations, natural gas stations in Oklahoma, where gas is selling at the equivalent of $1.40 a gallon. Now that's a pretty good bargain. If you have access to it, you're going to buy that before you spend $4 for a gallon of gasoline. And the pollution at the end of it is of course dramatically less than what you'd get in a gasoline or diesel car or truck. And so we should take advantage of this. EPA holds the key. EPA has not complied with the requirements of the law to take out of gasoline and diesel the air toxics and the poisons that they demand come out, as they're doing now, come out of stationary sources. If you are a stationary source, if you're a utility, or if you are a manufacturing concern, you have a boiler that generates electricity that you run, if you're a chemical plant, you have to reduce your air toxics by 90%. That's what the law requires. It's a section of the Clean Air Act. It's called 112, Section 112. And EPA is about to issue, or has already started issuing rules that cram down these pollutants, and they should be crammed down. I'm not saying they shouldn't, but the same pollutants come out of the tailpipe. And guess what? EPA says that's fine. But your exposure to the pollutants in the tailpipe is far greater than it is to the pollution from the power plants. And so they should go after those as well. And if they go after those as well, then they are challenging Omar Gaddafi and the royal family of Saudi Arabia and this guy in Venezuela and a lot of other people who aren't very nice to us. And so I hope that that's the message I can get across, that EPA, in my opinion, holds the key to opening up this competitive landscape that will allow our products, made in America, to provide cleaner air for you, less vulnerability to a lot of people in the world who don't like you, and a reduction of our trade deficits, which are not good for our economy. So that's my simple message. And if there are any questions anybody has about this, I'm happy to answer. I don't know where you're all from. I mean, I don't know, are you from around the country, or are you from mostly from the Midwest and the Southeast, or are you from the West Coast? All around the country. So some of you are in states that have these natural resources, some are probably not, but you probably all know people. You're either in a state that has these natural resources that ought to be developed in lieu of some stuff in Libya, or you're in states with big urban centers where you're suffering from pollution that you needn't suffer from. And some of you in states that have both. Anybody who's from Pennsylvania has got both. You got a dirty city in Pennsylvania, and you got all this clean gas in the ground. So, anybody here from Pennsylvania? Pennsylvania's in the sweet spot of benefiting at both ends. Yes.